Majesty's Leader of the Official Opposition.
Personal attacks, even when I'm not asking the questions, Mr. Speaker. That last comment was untrue. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the Honourable Claudette Tardif for her service representing Alberta in the Senate of Canada. She retired in March of this year, and so there's a vacancy for Alberta's allotment in the Senate of Canada. Will the Government of Alberta agree with me in encouraging the federal government to appoint Mr. Mike Shake, who was the third-place finisher in the last Alberta Senate elections, in which he received 310,000 votes?
The Honourable Deputy Premier.
Mr. Speaker, we have removed the election process, Mr. Speaker, and certainly this is a question, again, that's geared towards federal politics and federal appointments, Mr. Speaker. I understand that the member wants to spend a lot of time discussing federal issues, Mr. Speaker. In this House, we're keen on discussing Alberta issues, Mr. Speaker.
First supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Shake was elected in an Alberta election held under an Alberta statute to represent Alberta in Ottawa, in a seat that is now vacant. Does the government agree with the basic principle of democracy, insofar as Senators Doug Black and Scott Tannis, the first and second place candidates in that election, were appointed to the Senate by the Prime Minister Harper? Does she not agree that this precedent should be followed by appointing Mr. Mike Shake, who won 310,000 votes in an Alberta election conducted by the Government of Alberta?
The Honourable Deputy Premier.
I'll take this one again, and then I'll turn to my colleague for Democratic Renewal. Mr. Speaker, again, this is a federal appointment, not a provincial appointment. Mr. Speaker, I understand that the member has spent a great deal of time in Ottawa, but these appointments are made by the federal government. They're the ones that appoint these folks, Mr. Speaker. I understand you want to discuss federal issues, Honourable Member, but again, I urge you to consider discussing the matters at hand that debate directly to the province of Alberta, our policies, and what we do to move this province forward, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader.
So, Mr. Speaker, I'll take it from that answer that the government does not believe that the election should be respected. Mr. Speaker, another vacancy will be occurring as a result of the Honourable Senator Unger reaching the age of 75 later this year. And so will the government agree with us that this legislature should renew the now lapsed Alberta Senate Elections Act so that Albertans can have an opportunity on proposing to the federal government the next senator to be appointed to represent the people of Alberta in the upper chamber?
The Honourable Minister of Democratic Renewal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. What we've done to renew democracy here in our province, getting big money out of politics, and a number of other changes. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the member asking the question was a member of government while vacancies were available and did not appoint the person that he is referring to. So that seems to contradict his statement that all governments should react so strongly to the elections as he's put forward. But I will say that this government will continue to make sure democracy in Alberta remains strong by getting big money out of politics.
Thank you, Honourable Minister.